Grading the big six from the Premier League's action this weekend. We're starting off with Arsenal, and I think their performance against Wolves was very, very underrated. The reason Arsenal didn't win the Premier League last season is because of this emotional factor that I think they've got. When they play well, they play really well, but when things don't go right for Arsenal in the last couple of years with Arteta, you feel this young squad of Arsenal players can lose it a little bit. And against Wolves, very difficult opposition. I think Gary O'Neill's been one of the best managers in the league this season. What he's got out of the likes of Neto, the Cunhas of the world. Obviously, the defensive line for Wolves is fantastic as well. It's absolutely exceptional. And they made life very, very difficult for Arsenal. And grinding out that kind of performance where I don't think everyone was at a very, very high level. I think Odegaard had a good game, Declan Rice yet again. And I'm seeing a beautiful statistic about Declan Rice. I don't think he's got a yellow card yet or a red card. You see disciplinary issues from Spurs, you see disciplinary issues from Chelsea, even Man City. Rodri now won't be playing in the Aston Villa game. That's huge. And the disciplinary aspect of football is not really considered. Arsenal have an exemplary record, and especially Declan Rice, someone who's combative, a defensive midfielder who doesn't pick up fouls, and is as good as Declan Rice is. It's almost unheard of. It's almost unheard of. Absolutely exceptional. His control, his leadership for Arsenal has been absolutely pivotal. And picking up those kind of results, the result against Wolves felt like a result. It looked like a result that was coming at the end of March, at the end of April, the busiest end of the season. I think Arsenal have already kicked into gear. This looks like a side that are a little bit remorseful about what happened last season and want to correct things and want to push on and win the league title. I think they sense vulnerability in Man City. I think they sense vulnerability in Liverpool in terms of their defensive frailties for sure. And of course, City are a little bit up and down as well. Conceded 10 goals in the last 4 games, Man City. So defensive frailty is also an issue for Man City. And Arsenal feel a little bit more resolute, a little bit more aggressive defensively. They look like, again, that kind of classic trope in football, the business end of the season. And Arsenal look like they're already in it. So it's a very, very good performance. I actually have to give them an A. I thought they were absolutely superb against Wolves. Managed a beautiful Cunha goal as well. And they were desperate to get a point or anything from the Emirates Wolves. And they nearly did. They're a fantastic side, Wolves. So to get that kind of result for Arsenal, I think, especially when City have dropped points, especially when Liverpool looked a little bit on the ropes, could have easily dropped points as well. I think it's a very, very big result for Arsenal. Right, let's move on to Man City versus Spurs. It's a 2-2 draw. These games can end either way, just depending on how good City are or not. And City are definitely on the end of the spectrum of not looking as good so far this season. Some really poor or average results against top 6 rivals, opposition, however you want to put it. The points total isn't bad. We're only a few points off Arsenal, of course, and Liverpool. But I'd say the actual quality of performances from City haven't been there this season in those big games, in my opinion. They are going to come. There's going to be a spell where City look absolutely unquestionably good. Will that be enough for City to go on and get the points that are currently trailing Arsenal? Is a big debate. And for some people, Arsenal are favourites to win the Premier League from this point on. And for some people, you'll look at De Bruyne coming back, you'll look at Haaland coming back, you'll look at other people getting into the fray for Man City, including John Stones, and thinking the machine of Man City will only get better in the February, March and April of the year. But the reality is when you're playing Spurs and you have multiple opportunities to win the game, to kill the game off early, Haaland missing chances, it is very, very frustrating because obviously then you are in the hands of the gods. Simon Hooper, someone that obviously one of these spineless referees, these cowardly referees, you're in their hands and you can't afford to be. I think you actually have to play. I think some of these sides actually have to play football matches now. The refereeing is so bad in this country, you have to play as if you've got -1. Assume something will go against you unjustifiably now, and that's a shame. Football should be a 0-0 equal start to the game, and I feel that, I'm not just saying City get cheated out of it. Liverpool had a horrible one at Tottenham Stadium. So you have to look at these games now in the big, big moments. You have to put even more pressure on people to score 2, 3, 4, get ahead of sides, so that someone like Simon Hooper and these cowardly, these cowardly referees can't ruin the game for you. You have to take it away from the referees, and City haven't been able to do that. Weren't able to do it against Liverpool, weren't able to do it against Chelsea from winning positions, and it's another example where not beating Spurs when they're there for the taking. Lo Celso scoring a worldie. Really poor. I have to give City a D. Really, really frustrating result. It looks different if you beat Liverpool, if you beat Chelsea. Lack of results. Only beating Man United. Do you even count them as a top 6 opposition anymore? I'm not so sure. Obviously, Spurs, fantastic result for them. Showed a lot of grit. To get a draw at the Etihad for any side is amazing. Liverpool just did it, so Spurs have got a similar result in that regard. Absolutely fantastic for Spurs. We're going to give them, has to be an A. On to Liverpool, 4-3, comeback kings. The energy, the passion and the drive at Anfield for Liverpool is a trump card that I don't think any other side has in the league. I really don't. I don't think Stamford Bridge gives you that energy, even Tottenham Stadium. Anfield is a very, very special place, and if Liverpool need a win in dying circumstances, in, again, that period of the season where you need to keep on winning, Liverpool are the one side that can do it with Jurgen Klopp, with world-class players like Trent, Salah. I'd even put in Diaz in that category, who I thought was fantastic again against Fulham. And you're seeing this kind of squad energy, the way Endo celebrated, the way Trent celebrated. They all believe that they can contribute, they all believe that they can add value, and they all believe they can get back into a game from a losing position. Fulham were absolutely superb in the game. They deserve probably at least a draw, but Liverpool can always snatch out the jaws of defeat. That's how good they are, that's how special they are, and that's why they're major, major threats in the Premier League title race, because of that X factor, because of those world-class players that can get you back into the game, cause havoc. If a ball comes up, out from a corner in the 95th minute and you've got Trent on the end of it, that's worrying times, and there's almost no one else in the league that can hit a ball like Trent. They were absolutely exceptional to get back in the game. You would question their defensive frailties. That would frustrate you if you're Jurgen Klopp about how open they've looked. When they won the league, they were defensively so miserly at the back. They're going to need a lot more defensive nous if they're going to go over and win the Premier League title this season. But I think they've got a great chance. Have to give them an A for the comeback of all comebacks. I've not talked about Newcastle versus Manchester United on this channel. Absolutely disgraceful for Man United. I feel like we see this on Sky Sports every single weekend with Man United players being put into the question, questioned about their work ethic, about their desire to play for the shirt. Do they even care? Do they even care? I don't think a lot of them do. Even Bruno Fernandes, someone who's a bit of a shout-in merchant, a passion merchant. Rubbish against Newcastle, no end product. I don't get why. Look, you might get challenged by the Newcastle backline. They're aggressive. You might get pressured off the ball. I don't know why Man United can't just keep the ball a little bit more simple than they are. They're always trying to beat a man. They're always trying to go the extra yard. They don't have the ability to do that. They don't have the confidence to do that. They're not in a good vein of form. They need a lot more, in my opinion, Manchester United. A lot more. I actually don't know why I'm talking about them in this video. I don't know if they'll even be a top 6 side come the end of May. It's so abject. It's pathetic. How's Martial leading the line at St. James's Park? How's that happening? 7 years after they signed him, he was rubbish after the first season. He's been taking a wage for 7 years out of that club. No wonder it's in a state, where it is. That's just the reality. Have to give Man United a D. Absolutely shocking, and they were never even considered by football fans to even win that game. Many football fans thought Newcastle were the favourites. How is that possible? 2 years ago, they were bottom of the league. They were bottom of the league with Steve Bruce. Absolutely crazy. We're going to talk about Chelsea. They made life very, very hard for themselves after that Conor Gallagher booking against Brighton. It's good to get a win. I know it's Brighton. They've got a European fixture list on their minds. They just travelled in the midweek as well. But you still have to beat them. You still have to get over the line. And the way they performed against Newcastle last week was absolutely shocking, abject. And for Chelsea to get 3 points is fantastic. But apart from that, I still think they're really, really poor. They're struggling. They got their lead striker chatting to girls from OnlyFans to give him motivation. Look, good to see Enzo Fernandez scoring, but he's not doing enough this season. A lot of those Chelsea players aren't. Can't be critical of 3 points, of course, but I think you still expect a little bit more from Chelsea, and they made life very hard for themselves. But getting through the game with 10 men, fair enough. What can I say? We'll give them a B, to be fair. If you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate it, and I'll see you very, very soon.